So Jim Acosta of CNN reported on a meeting between President Trump and Tea Party leaders in Congress, and he had some really interesting nuggets of information that I want to share with you here. So first of all, he said that Trump warned them, don't call this new healthcare bill Obamacare Light because, quote, you're helping the other side if you do. So this is Trump getting with Tea Party, Republican leaders in Congress and basically rallying them and saying, look, here's what you're going to do. I'm the president. I'm in charge. Here's what you're going to do. And so I've seen this healthcare bill called Trump Care. I've seen it called Ryan Care. I think the official name is like the American Health Care Act or something along those lines. But he's saying, don't you dare call it Obamacare Light, because among some Republicans, that's what they're calling it. So not all the Republicans are on board with this for a variety of reasons. Some of them who are actually somewhat moderate are saying, look, this gets rid of the Medicaid expansion, and if I get rid of the Medicaid expansion, I don't win re-election. I get destroyed, so I can't be in favor of that. Others are saying it's Obamacare Light because they're such ideologues that they just want to repeal it. Go back to what we had before, and I don't know, fuck it. Let more people be uninsured, let more people die because they don't have access to basic care, and we're a bunch of idiots. So they're Kool-Aid drinkers. They really believe the Rush Limbaugh nonsense that they listen to on a daily basis. So, but either way, he's having trouble rallying them. But he's trying. So this is him saying, don't you dare call it Obamacare Light. Don't make me put you in line, bitch. Okay, more. Then he said to them, quote, this is going to be great. You're going to make it even greater. So this is the other part of his approach here. On the one hand, you tell them, look, you're not going to call this Obamacare Light. So in other words, hey, don't come out against my bill, motherfucker. I said I support this, so you're going to support it too. Then the other part of it is, hey, if you do right, well, then you're going to get credit. I'm going to say you're responsible. You're going to make this bill even greater. So it's the carrot and stick approach. Now, this is something Trump does all the time. If a journalist writes something positive about him, then he tweets about him, gives them love and attention. There was the goofy guy, this nobody who was at a rally and he did a meeting with, or he did an interview on like MSNBC talking about how much he loves Trump. He's Trump's number one fan. Well, then when there was the rally actually happened and Trump was there, Trump called the guy on the stage, gave him a pat on the back, gave him a hug, told him this guy's great, a star is born, this guy's tremendous. So if you're nice to Trump, Trump is even nicer to you. If you're mean to Trump, Trump is even meaner to you. So now this may all stem from the fact that he's a giant man-child, but either way, it's actually really smart politics because as long as you can get them to buy into the aura of you, and now that he's the president, it's easier, especially among the Republican Party, well, then you're going to have an effect. So, and this happens with the media, man. You'll notice when he goes after the reporters, then they're much more hesitant to go after him again. Because you're like, I don't want to deal with all of his fucking Twitter followers hating me and tweeting all this shit at me, and I don't feel safe or comfortable when that happens. So they're more likely to be neutral towards him or to say a nice thing about him because then they know they'll get the positive feedback. So, but I still haven't even gotten to the best part yet. So here's the most important part. He said that he's confident healthcare will pass the House, but for the Senate, he plans, quote, football stadium rallies in red states to prod vulnerable Dems. There we go. So this is exactly what I yelled at Obama for not doing. Remember, when Obamacare was passed, the Democrats had a supermajority at the time. People don't talk about that enough. They had a supermajority. So you know what that means? They could get anything they want passed. So they should have said, we're going to do single payer, and that's the end of the conversation. We're going to do a Medicare-For-All bill because we have a supermajority and we're going to get it done. Oh, there's some blue dog Democrats who aren't on board? Well, I'm going to make them get on board. Not only did they not do that, they didn't think about single payer for a split second. They started the negotiation by caving and saying, we're going to do a public option, which is watered down single payer. And then from there, they went, oh, none of the Republicans are going to vote for it. So let's do Obamacare, which is an individual mandate system, which is originally the right-wing idea. That is Nixon care. That is Romney care. That is Bob Dole care. That is Newt Gingrich care. The Heritage Foundation wrote policy papers saying we support this to be against single payer, back when the Democrats actually supported single payer. So he caved all the way to their idea. And guess how many Republicans voted for it in the end anyway? 0. Literally none. So what did I say Obama should have done? What did other progressives say Obama should have done? Dude, you don't know how to play politics. It's really sad to see. So what I would have done is I would have said, we're going to do a Medicare-For-All bill. And then when the blue dogs go, no, I'm from a red state, so I'm grandstanding to say I am with the Republicans. Here's what you do. You're president, and you were just elected not that long ago. You're popular. You call them into your office, you sit them down, and you say, look, here's the deal. You're going to vote for this bill. If you don't vote for a Medicare-For-All bill, which, by the way, a majority of the American people want, it's 55% today. If you don't vote for Medicare-For-All, I am going to take time and resources, and we are going to primary your ass, and I will do everything in my power for your opponent to win, and your career in politics will be over. Now, you could roll the dice if you want and think that somehow you're going to be more popular than a Democratic president who was just elected and opposing a bill that 55% of the American people support. You can roll the dice and try to fight me on this, but guess what? I'll have more money than you. I can raise more money than you, more resources, and I will make it my life's mission to make sure that whoever primaries you wins. So now you could avoid all this trouble if you just vote yes on the bill. So this is what you do. You call Joe Manchin into your office, and you do it. You call every single blue dog Democrat, probably Evan Bayh at the time, call him in there. Tell him this is what's going to happen. Try me. Fucking try me. And then you would have won. Now, Donald Trump is doing exactly that. Donald Trump is actually more ballsy because in my scenario, I'm saying all you have to do is flip the blue dog Democrats. They're already Democrats. They're already Democrats, and the entire party is putting pressure on them to vote with the president. So you have an easy job to say, we're just going to primary you and I'm going to defeat you. I'll campaign there and fucking crush you. But Trump is saying, no. Not only am I going to try to rally the Republicans, I'm going to try to get Joe Manchin. So Trump is going to do rallies in West Virginia, where Joe Manchin is a Democratic senator, and he's going to say in the rallies, Joe Manchin, isn't he terrible? Why wouldn't he vote for my bill? I mean, my bill is tremendous. My bill will make your life so much better. My bill gets rid of the terrible Obamacare, sad Obamacare. So let's make him. Why don't you call Joe Manchin and tell Joe Manchin he's got to vote for this bill? And Trump is twisting arms. Now, look, ultimately, the bill may not pass because the initial support is really low, like really, really low. There's so many Republicans who say, no, this isn't, because they don't really have the real liberals and progressives have a go-to thing that their answer is for healthcare, where it's just Medicare-For-All, period. That's it. That's what our thing is. The Republicans don't have that. So they don't have free market. Well, free market is what we had before Obamacare. We had a more open free market and the outcomes were worse. That's why we needed something like single payer or a public option. And even Obamacare was an improvement. An individual mandate system was an improvement on what we had because free market doesn't do dick. Doesn't make it better in when it comes to healthcare. So they don't have a go-to thing. So it's harder to herd them on this issue. So the initial support for Trump's bill was much lower. But he's gonna fight. He's gonna start swinging, and it might not be enough because, again, initially very few people gave this bill a positive review. But if they had managed to cobble together a piece of legislation that had a little bit higher favorability among the Republicans in Congress, then he probably could have gotten it through because he's going to actually play politics. He's going to pull a Lyndon B. Johnson or an FDR. These are politicians who know how to twist arms, know how to get what they want. Obama didn't know that. So it's sad to see that in some ways Trump is actually better at playing politics than Obama.